All right, happy Tuesday night, everybody. Welcome on into the daily broadcast. Coming to you from Raiderland World Headquarters. You get on the chat line, brought to you by United Supermarkets at Market Street. They were taking care of you this weekend for Memorial Day weekend. All of your grilling needs, everything you needed, they were ready for you. And then today, they had everything restocked and ready to go. Amazing, incredible. I was there today, the calm after the storm, and they were ready to take care of you. They're taking care of Texas Tech, the supermarket chain in West Texas that supports the Red Raiders. Now, we got a lot of stuff going on. Tuesday's best. We give you two topic. You give us the two best choices tonight. Greatest sports rags to riches stories. The athletes that overcame amazing odds. The athletes that overcame, whatever it might be to go from rags to riches. Wes Welker could be that guy at Texas Tech. Maybe Wes Welker is that guy in the NFL. I don't know. You tell us. It's the SEC versus everybody. Greg Sankey, the commissioner, he wants everybody to hate him, and he's doing a good job. Can the Big 12 prevail with the ACC against the SEC? And then the little yip yap dog is the Big 10 tagging along with the SEC right now. But the SEC is making it clear where they want to go. One of the questions becomes, what are we fighting for? Why are we trying to save the NCAA at this point? What are we trying to save here? And then rate yourself as a softball fan. New to softball, new to Tech softball. Do you know softball? Are you a softball hardcore fan? You tell us. And it's okay to be a bandwagon fan because that's where all fans come from. At a certain point, all fans start on a bandwagon. Anything and everything else that's on your mind tonight will go as long as the conversation is good. I promise you that tonight. All right, so let's get it going this evening in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com. On the website, you start your day there. Hopefully you enjoyed the morning hot links. We serve them up fresh and hot every morning. Brought to you by Kyle Rogers tonight. We give you Tuesday's best. You got to make two tough choices. One call to make, though, when you're buying or selling a home in Lubbock. And that's to Kyle Rogers at Remax Realty. Also by Sideline Provisions. You want to look good. You want to even look better than the team sometimes. You need Sideline Provisions, owned and operated, created by Red Raiders. They've got all the cool caps and shirts and everything you've come to expect from Sideline. You can find it at quarterforward.net on the internet. Go to Raider Apparel or Red Raider Apparel. There's a drop-down bar that'll take you there. Or you can just go by Quarter 4 in Lubbock. That's the old Cardinal Sports Center. I feel like I still need to say that for some people. So great sponsors tonight. Hopefully you will take care of them. So let's do it. Your greatest sports rags to riches stories. Maybe it's, it could be Texas Tech related. Those improbable great stories that an athlete comes from nowhere to achieve great things. Maybe it's in the NFL. We used on the website today Kurt Warner. I mean, really, you're stocking groceries at the Hy-Vee there in Iowa. You're playing for the what was it, Cedar Rapids or Iowa City Aviators in the Arena League, and the next thing you know, you're a Super Bowl MVP and an NFL Hall of Famer. There were several before that, and a lot of quarterbacks. Johnny Unitas on the scrap heap, playing semi-pro football. Did he originally drafted by the Steelers maybe, and then cut and playing semi-pro football? Lenny Dawson, Lenny the Cool in Kansas City, same thing, buried on the depth chart. I can't remember which team. Bart Starr out of Alabama goes to Green Bay. He's like 8th string when Lombardi shows up. Yet they make it happen. Give me your favorite rags to riches stories. The ones who overcame. The ones who created something out of nothing. Is Brock Purdy that guy in the NFL right now, by the way? Mr. Irrelevant, the last draft pick, operating for 3 years under one of the worst contracts that a quarterback could have in the NFL and producing at high level for the 49ers. And then we have the SEC versus everybody else. And if you want to talk about Greg Sankey, if you want to talk about the SEC, fair game, let's do it. Because they don't care right now. Now, he goes off over the weekend against the Big 12 and the ACC, erroneously claiming that they somehow coordinated press releases, and he doesn't want to be lectured on what's the good of the game and everything else. The SEC doesn't care. They don't care what the Big 12 thinks. I don't care what anybody thinks. Why would they think that way? Tell me who would make them think that they don't need. And all this is going on as we're looking at trying to restructure the college football playoff. And is it going to be a 12-2-2-1 or it sounds like a bad defense. Basically, it boils down to how many guaranteed teams for the Big Ten and how many guaranteed teams for the SEC. And we go from there. That's what it boils down to on that front. But why would the SEC think, and why would Greg Sankey think that they can do anything they want to? Joe says, I care. You care about which what? You guys get in on the United Supermarkets chat line. The reason the SEC and Greg Sankey can behave this way, and he can say, I've got people asking me why we're in the NCAA. I'm going to ask you, why are we fighting for the NCAA? Maybe it needs to be blown up. Maybe we do need a top 60, 70 NFL-style college football and break basketball off. In Texas Tech, I think we'll be fine in both of those scenarios. What about the lesser sports? Actually, it gets cheaper from there. It gets cheaper from there. Joe says he cares about the Big 12. We have somebody who cares about the Big 12. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe, out of Alabama, by the way, cares about the Big 12. Why do you think Greg Sankey is acting the way he's acting right now? What gives him that kind of power? Who gives him that kind of power? I mean, I'll answer the question. It's a rhetorical question, but I'll do it here in a second. Big 12 needs to be at the table. They're at the table right now. That's what's pissing off Sankey right now, is that Brett Yormark and Phillips in the ACC are actually at the table. They don't want that. But I'll tell you. But I want somebody out there to tell me why you think Greg Sankey acts the way he does, says what he said, and thinks he can do it. Who empowers him? The Tuesday's best, greatest rags to riches stories. Chris says it's hard to top Kurt Warner's story. Yeah, it is. Stocking groceries. Hall of Famer. Pretty good. ESPN gives Sankey the power. The networks give him the power to do that. He knows it. And that everybody out there is saying that, they've got to have all this and that. They can't break away from the NCAA. The networks have already said the minute you break away from the NCAA and negotiate with us independently, we'll make it worth your while. That's the bottom line. That's the end of the story. Whether you like it or not in Big 12 country or ACC country or Big 10 or Pac-12, it doesn't matter. They've already told them that. It's a matter of how they do it. It's a matter of how they get there and who they bring along with them. There are a lot of people saying today, hey, just let the SEC and the Big 10 go and do their own thing. Oh, they could. 100% they could. Demographically, that the TV markets and everything they control, they can 100% do it. They don't give a damn about the rest of the country, and why should they? And that's where the Big 12 and the ACC need to start thinking the same way. Why should you care about New Mexico? Why should you care about fill in the blank schools that you've been paying for so many years? And Texas Tech better come to that realization, and I include Cody Campbell in that, because we can't say Texas Tech without Cody Campbell anymore. In fact, we're starting to say Cody Campbell more than Kirby Hocutt or Lawrence Skuvenek or fill in the blank. That's the way it works, though. Chris nails it. The networks have already told him where it can go, and where it's going to go. It's a matter of how does it go there and what do you do. So you can tilt at windmills all you want if you're a Texas Tech or if you're a Big 12 or an ACC. You better figure out a way to get included if that's what you want to be included in. Now, if you don't want to be included in that, that's fine. You can kind of drop down a level. You got the English Premier League, and then you got the Champions League, or whatever they call it in English soccer. So you got the top 20 teams playing. Then you got the other teams that are playing. They're doing fine. They're doing stuff. That's what, yeah. That's where it's going to go. My God, we can't have that in America. That would be awful. Now, well, that's where it's going. Blue Bloods, old money doesn't like the new rich coming in and making waves, and that would be Cody Campbell and the new rich. Got new money. New money spins good. Don't mess with the mouse, is their thinking. The house of the mouse. Talking about ABC, Disney. JC, let's not confuse college football playoff with NCAA. Two conferences want that confusion, muddy the waters around their coup. Well, when you say college football playoff in the NCAA, which one are you conflating with what? There's two conferences that control what we know as the college football playoff. Playoffs. They do. And the others wanted to be included, and they've gone along with it up to this point. Then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but now, I think conferences are looking at saying, do we really need the other two? Why? And I ask the question again, why are we fighting for the NCAA structure that doesn't work, will not work going forward? And I don't want to see any breath expended by Texas Tech on fighting for the NCAA. I want them to fight for Texas Tech to be involved at the highest level in college football going forward, whatever that may be, in a breakaway league from the NCAA, which I believe should happen. After that, we break away basketball, the top 60, 70 teams in basketball, and we get rid of the idea of conferences. By the way, have we mentioned this before over the last 30 years? I think we have. Conferences are dead. There's no reason to have them. And then we drop down into the non-rev Olympic playing sports, and we coalesce them around smaller regional areas like the old Southwest Conference. We play it that way, and you are more than capable of staging championships among those teams, much like the NCAA. But you don't have to pay for NCAA 2A, Division 3, Division 4, Division whatever, and you get on with life. And that's the way it's going to be. Big 12 and ACC do their thing. SEC, Big 10, do their thing. At the end of the season, the best in the group play for a championship. Why would the SEC and the Big 10 want to play for a championship against those two schools when they don't have to? If they've got their own TV rights, they've got their own TV deal, why would they ever want to do it? You know? Why would they want to do it? Jacob blocked on X, but he is correct. I have no idea what that means. You know? But then again, there's a lot of things I don't know what it means. Yeah, why would they not want to stage their own championship if they're being paid for it? And again, look at the markets they control now, east to west. From the West Coast, the only markets that give a damn about college football they've got in the Big Ten now. The Big Ten extends to the Northeast corridor. Then the Southeastern Conference obviously has what they have. The rest of the country, for the most part, the TV networks really don't give a damn about you. That's a hard reality for a lot of people to stomach in Big 12 country, but it's true. And certainly the rest of the old Pac-12, they just don't move the needle. They don't care. People don't care. So they can do it. I mean, there's a reason why the NFL doesn't have a team in every state. There's a reason why the NFL doesn't have a team in even every metropolitan market. For a while, they didn't even have them in LA. Think about that. That the West Coast is such an unreliable remitter of revenue when it comes to media that for a while the NFL said we don't even need a team there. Now we don't want a team in the NFL in Los Angeles because we're building new stadiums around the NFL with the threat of moving to LA. And once all the stadiums got built and they fleeced the taxpayer, then they said, all right, we can allow the NFL back in the Los Angeles city suburbs. But just folks still don't get it. I've been saying this for 25, 30 years. Ask Don Williams on Twitter, at Don Williams, at AJ_Don Williams, where this was going to go. And when it gets there, it's going to be better. Break out the football playing schools. Break out the basketball playing schools. Come back to regional alliances, not conferences, regional alliances. The idea of the Southwest Conference and even the SEC, the Big Ten, just get rid of that. Go from there and operate under the auspices of geographical divisions and conferences. It's not hard. Need to cut some of the fat from the Big 12 too, many eaters and riders. Again, I don't care about conferences anymore, so fine, get rid of them all. 2 unnamed conferences, 5 7-team divisions. Divisions aligned make up old conferences teams, give or take. Centralized scheduling NFL model works. Yeah, pretty much what JC is saying right there. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, it's right in front of your face if you're college sports on how to operate. The NFL does it best. All right, then you get your CBA, then you get to have a salary cap, then you don't have to worry about paying, as much as $4 million for a first-year player. You put them under a rookie contract. You go from there. I go back to the idea of what are people trying to save when it comes to the NCAA? What are you trying to save? Why do you want to save the NCAA? Because it doesn't work. And if you're a Texas Tech fan, why in the hell would you want to save the so-called collegiate model that hasn't worked for you for 75 years in football? Answer me that. Why do you want to save it? What chance in any does Tech have to hitch a ride on the breakaway league? 100% you're going to be there. You got a big stadium. You got plenty of money. You play in a desired market, which is the state of Texas. You deliver the Metroplex, Houston, San Antonio, and those markets, and you're going to be there. I mean, you still got to have teams. You still got to spread them around a little bit around the country. So, yeah, a breakaway league is going to have about 64 teams, I think, broken down into conferences. You're going to be in there. And it don't hurt that Cody Campbell is walking around with more spending money than T. Boone Pickens ever dreamed of at Oklahoma State. T. Boone had a lot of money. He had a lot of assets. He had a lot of things. But Cody Campbell and Jason Sellers, liquid money. Fear of the unknown. I don't fear the unknown. I do, however, fear what's going on with one of my vehicles with a battery wire, grounding wire. Something's going on weird and just keeps draining the battery and something's happening. Don't like it, I think the people that want to preserve the NCAA are afraid of change. As you said, the NCAA hasn't served Tech well. Yeah. No, but it's security. Now, then there's some who don't want to change it because they just don't like the idea. By God, them college athletes, they just taking money and they ought to be playing for love of the game. I would have done it for nothing. Did you roll out of bed and go to work today for nothing? Well, kiss my ass on that. I don't want to hear that. I would have done it for nothing, man. I would have done it for just frijoles and, some fried Navajo bread, and I would have been good with it. You idiots. I hate those people. I would have done anything to play college football. No, you wouldn't. You really wouldn't. Trust me on that. All right? Liars. Every single one. Joe coming in on Facebook. By the way, you guys are with us on YouTube. It's Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Hit like, hit share, grow the page, invite people in, share it. We appreciate that. On Facebook, hey, it's easy. You just go to Facebook, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Subscribe, don't cost nothing. and you can share it on there. Take a look at the old NFL AFL bidding war of the 60s. Money was the only thing that brought them to the table to negotiate a merger. All right, so let's see how quickly we can do this. So in the mid 60s, and Donnie Anderson, former Texas Tech running back Red Raider, one of the big bonus babies going to the Packers in 66, $600,000 signing bonus. And he was credited with being one of the signings that they said really broke the bank between we can't keep doing this. We can't keep paying players this much in a bidding war. We got to come to an understanding. ABC had the rights at the time to the AFL, NBC, CBS on the NFL side. The AFL really had some, not undesirable TV markets, but growing markets that they all looked at and said, okay, maybe we can do something with this. So it was money that was driving it for the most part, that the AFL had owners like Lamar Hunt that were willing to pay and overpay players. Al Davis, cheap as he was, willing to overpay out there in Oakland. So that drove the NFL to the table. But again, it was the networks that said, hey, we got some markets here we'd like to come maybe coalesce into this and do it, Good points, though, on money bringing it to the table. Chris Carpenter says, yeah, I don't do my job for nothing. Agreed. 100%. Holy crap. This show's flying by. We hardly got to the topic on rags to riches stories. Go to the website, theraiderland.com. Today's topic brought to you by Kyle Rogers, Remax Realty, our official realtor in Raiderland. Also the voice of Texas Tech softball there, Rocky Johnson. Go in there, give us some of your favorite rags to riches stories in sports. We'll talk more softball tomorrow as we go through. Tech Hall of Honor. Bless their hearts. I get an email at lunch. Yeah, we're going to a pros conference at 2:00 today, and we're going to announce the Hall of Honor. Can you give the media a little more heads up? Not for me, but for like David Collier and people like that are actually going on the road to Oklahoma City to cover the College World Series. Could we not have scheduled this a little bit better, a little more warning time, it's a Hall of Honor thing. It's not like breaking news. We can do it anytime we want. You give them like 2 hours to get this done. I'll have stuff tomorrow about the Hall of Honor and those included. Matt Kostelic, by the way, makes it in Texas Tech baseball. Great player. Good call. Whoever was the voice in the room on Matt Kostelic, playing on some teams that have kind of been forgotten to history in the early 80s or early 90s. Appreciate that. Yeah, they just like rush it out today like they're trying to cover up bad news. No, you got a lot of good news going on. You got softball, you got stuff going on. Right? Probably not a popular pick around here, but Baker Mayfield is a bit of a rags to riches story. Which part? The rags of Austin Westlake or wherever he was just suffering and getting by, or in a college where two schools wanted him, or in the NFL. Cody Campbell count as a rags to riches story? Not hardly. Not hardly. Rags to riches is selfish. JC, my uncle was random. JP and Rangers battery. My uncle was random. JP, like just as a piece. Rangers battery had killed too many dove. Gino Petrali paid his fine and his ticket. Anytime wives, seats, I'm like, go Dr. Pepper. So Gino Petrali was a catcher for the Rangers in the late 80s. And apparently he paid his fine. There you go. Gino Petrali. Wow. Names you don't expect to show up on the daily broadcast, yet show up. Gino Petrali. NCAA was great for Texas Tech in the mid-'90s, right? Insert sarcasm. Why throw them a lifeline back? In the mid-'90s, huh? Didn't do anything to them. Fake Natalie Maines jumping in. Dear Hyde, how are you? I'm fine. 2 questions. Will Edmonton win in 5? The Stars have basically played what? 8 minutes of great hockey. Game 1, third period, 3 power plays. Nothing else they've done has been replicated. Why would I bet on them? Why would I think they're going to do anything? Also, will the U.S. be better at hockey if Canada becomes our 51st state? Thank you for the hockey talk that you give us. Love you. How could it not be better? How could hockey not be better? They're handicapped by a bad economic system. They're handicapped by bad, obviously, trade agreements. That if we could strengthen, I don't want them as a state. I want them as a territory, like New Mexico was until 1912. A nice territory. I really don't want to carry them around as a state, but if we made them a territory, that would help, I think, a lot of the businesses up there. That would give them some money, and maybe, just maybe, they could do something they haven't done since 1993 or whenever it was, and actually win a Stanley Cup championship. Which, are we supposed to feel bad about that as Americans? What are we supposed to do? I don't. But yeah, nothing about the Stars game has been replicated other than those 5 minutes with the power plays in game 1. Everything that Edmonton has done has been replicatable, and they've kind of shown it on that. I think what's really interesting right now is we're seeing in the NHL in the playoffs that get beat by 1 goal, get beat by 7, you don't care. That they're pulling goalies earlier in the third period, and they're just not giving up. They're just going, all right, we're going to take a big swing at this with 5 minutes left, and whatever happens, we're going to go from there. Sad rags, the richest story I was watching the other day, Junior Seau. Well, yeah, obviously he suffered CTE, as they said, and did not end up well. 0 offense DFW currently. Rangers and Stars can score in a bar. Ah! The cocaine and boob job crowd are the only way the Rangers and the Stars can get it done. All right, we got to get out of here. Good stuff tonight. Hey, if you like what we do, share it on the internets, on Facebook and YouTube, and on Twitter and everything else. It's not hard to do. We'll have this posted up here in a little bit. TheRaiderland.com. Tomorrow, What If Wednesday, brought to you by the Shropshire Agency. You don't have to worry about what if Shropshire Insurance of Texas is handling your insurance, independent, just like all great Texans, the Shropshire Agency. So we'll give you an old history question tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on what's going on with the SEC. Here's what they're doing. They're going to screw you over if they get the chance. So that was easy. I don't have to stay up late tonight on that. Again, share this. Have fun. Thanks to Sideline Provisions, Kyle Rogers, Remax Realty, and United Supermarkets on the chat line. See you in the morning, TheRaiderland.